Nicolas Cage is probably one of our generation's definitive actors.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting. It's Andy Gillard here. Hope everyone's doing good.
Hi everyone, Matt Guy. Hope everyone's doing well this evening.
Hello everyone, especially Todd for putting us through this.
Yes, Todd, you owe us at least some beers, I think, for this shit show. But anyway, that's we'll get to that in a minute. So, what a week it's been having to sit through Kill Chain and. The reason these were paired is because IMDb describes them both as action films. I would argue they're barely films, let alone action films, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, let's jump straight into Kill Chain. I think we'll start with the most modern of the two.
You have the eyes and the hands of a violent man. I know. Because I know violent men. Does a violent man really think he's gonna find peace?
If you need anything.
Here all night?
I was gonna say dial 00. Yes, I am.
I thought you were the clerk.
Clerk, bartender, security guard, owner.
Kill Chain. It is described on Wikipedia as a neo-noir action thriller film. It's not really neo-noir, there's not much action in it, and it's barely a film. The first 45 minutes of this film can be summed up in one sentence. Shit happens to people until we meet a woman in red, and then the woman in red meets Nick Cage, and then the story starts. That's basically the first 45 minutes of this film.
And a lot of explosions and gunshots.
Yeah, but they're all sort of superfluous to what happens until the very end. But anyway, let's get back to it, and we'll go right from the beginning. It feels very irrelevant, all of this. It's mostly padded just to get to the second half of the film, just to set the story straight right now.
Set the scene.
So the film starts off with a flash forward where we're in Cage's hotel. There's no context, no meaning, no interest in any of it. It starts a proper with a man with a big sniper rifle. We don't know who he's sniping on or why he's sniping on them. He sees a gun over the road pointed at him. He beckons a sex worker off the street in his paranoia, and he gets her to help him. He sends her over the road. She gets killed by the other sniper, and then the other sniper, we find out his name is Sanchez. He kills her, and then he kills our assassin. So we've just spent the first 15 minutes finding out about a man who then gets killed and zero interest again. Just nothing happens.
Question 1. Why does he make her take her top off and go to the window?
Boobs?
Yeah,
Well, I know boobs. I'm happy with that answer. But was there anything other than that? Was that to keep the eyes of the sniper fixed there? So I didn't really understand it.
Maybe.
I wonder if he was doing it so she thinks that she's there for sex reasons, not to just look out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's for her benefit, because if he's a professional sniper over the road, I wouldn't think he would particularly care if she was topless or not. You are right.
This is one of many questions I have. More to get it off my chest than anything. That I don't want answers. I just need to talk about.
It seemed a intriguing enough start, because we get a bit of backstory on this character. We find out he's got a kid and he's doing this for her, but then they kill him. So I don't really know why they've done that. They've pulled the rug out from us straight away, like within 10 minutes of the film. So fuck you, Kill Chain, is how it starts. But then the film follows Sanchez, so the sniper's sniper. We're a third of the way into the film at this point as well, and literally fuck all's happened. The only character that we've met is dead, and we're now following his killer, who is now immediately picked up by two police officers. When they're searching Sanchez, they discover crystals in his pocket. These police are corrupt. They knew that Sanchez had these crystals. Sanchez then tries to sow dissension, but then he gets killed by the white police officer. His name's Erickson. He then also kills the Hispanic policeman, and now we're following Erickson. Like, where the fuck has this come from? So again, we get a little bit of character work on Sanchez. They off him, and we're following somebody else. We've got no affinity to anybody, and they build up a little bit and kill them.
It's almost like an anthology series just mashed into a film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I did like this bit, the bit in the car where he's using his body
Class.
as a shield. But that was really good.
Yeah, like visually, it was decent, but from a storytelling point of view, it's very poor. So we had no real backstory on Sanchez, to be honest. We're with him for a few seconds before he gets off, to be perfectly honest. We've now hit the 40-minute mark in a 90-minute film. And like, it's taken us less than 5 minutes since we've started recording this. We're almost halfway through. That's how bad it is. So we're now following a brand new character that we only know him as a scummy cop. He's been on the screen for less than 10 minutes. Are we supposed to care what's happening? Like, IMDb describes this as 3 strangers' lives are inevitably entangled in a conflict none of them are prepared for. We've met the old assassin, Sanchez Erickson. So we've met 3 characters. These the 3 mentioned in the blurb. Their lives aren't entangled. They're literally separate but contiguous because they're in close proximity. And there's been 0 interest. And where the fuck is Nick Cage?
Yeah. That's the thing at this point. I mean, to use the word starring Nick Cage, they are bending the rules somewhat at this point. But the fact that he's in the first scene, I think, is how they probably justify it before it then cuts to these events.
It's like Drew Barrymore in Screaming.
I almost feel like which they did sell this film on it being a Nick Cage film, if you look at the poster, it is just Cage. If they didn't have that scene at the very beginning, you would assume you've picked up the wrong movie.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to this film now and this is the problem with often your characters with very little character development, is that the deaths become meaningless, that we don't care for, we don't have an emotional interest in any of these characters at this point. And because we don't have an emotional interest, when they do start to pick into intrigue, we don't really care anyway, which is a bit of a sad thing. It's not until the second half of the film where we start to get anything that remotely constitutes as a not a threat, but something that we care about happening to one of the characters.
Do you think that having the flash forward at the start was added later for that reason alone, that it was not a Nick Cage film because he's not in it until halfway through? Because he says at the start, I'll tell you a story, and obviously the story's not the story he's telling.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't know that story, would he?
No, exactly. That's what you're made to think, that what you're being told, what you're being shown, is what he was saying, and then obviously it gets to the point that we're nearly at already.
Yeah.
But again, I don't say enjoyed it, but I've never seen anything like this before. Probably for a reason, because it's not very good. But
yeah,
I was at least it kept my interest, because it was just so strange.
I know we're hot-shotting around a little bit here. It was on my notes and I completely forgot to mention it. When we started watching this film and we saw the intro, Sam said to me, "Are you watching a film or are you watching something on Channel 5?" And that summed it up, because it looks like something like Prison Break or something like that, the intro. It didn't have a motion picture feel to it at all.
Yeah, it does have a break for a what would be a traditional TV show. So it stops. It has the music playing and shows clips from what we would associate with what you watch a TV show. It was very strange. Maybe it was meant to be a TV show. I don't know. So as I said, we were following Erickson now. He gets shot by his Hispanic partner. He manages to get back to his hideout where he meets his girlfriend. Whilst they're hiding out, and this is the character name, the very bad woman turns up. I can't believe that is an actual name in an actual fucking script. The very bad woman. He gives the new woman that we've met what we assume is his girlfriend. He gives her the diamonds and says that he will meet her at the hotel. She runs away. He dies. So we're now following a lady with less than 2 minutes screen time that we're now supposed to be invested in.
Can I say something, Andy? Sorry.
Yeah.
You know how the very bad woman's awful.
Mm.
You know, for anybody who listened to last week's episode, Andy loved the protagonist. I just want to put that out in the ether.
Oh, fuck you, Matthew.
Sorry, please continue.
Yeah. So she gets to the hotel. Finally, Nick Cage is here. 45 minutes into a 90-minute film. He's running the joint. I don't think he's wearing a wig, but his hair is so much thicker than like what we're generally used to. He's had some work. So it's not quite wig wash at this point, but there's something going on there, I reckon.
It's the opposite. It's beard watch.
Beard bingo. Yep.
Yes, but we'll get onto that in a bit because I've got a point about the beards to get to as well. We get some conversation between Cage and the woman in red. That is also her name because she's now wearing a dress, even though she wasn't wearing a red dress when we first met her. She identifies Cage as a violent man due to the scars on his hands and neck. She seduces Cage. She confesses that she's doing this to get him to help her escape. The dialogue is so bad. It is like you know Edward G. Robinson, the movies from the 30s, where it's all like, you see what I'm saying here? See, it's like that level of corny, shitty, like really subpar gangster movies from the 30s. Oh, it's shocking.
We're gonna whack you guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. The very bad woman now turns up at the hotel. She's asking about the woman in red. Like, these names are fucking appalling. Then they just call him Sally or whatever, you know. There's a fight. The very bad woman gets killed, as does her henchman. Before they go to dispose of the bodies, 2 other men turn up. This is from the very opening scene, so we've now gone full circle. The 2 men are there for Cage, though, not for the woman in red. It's payback from his violent history. Exposition, exposition, exposition.
You know the scene where the woman in red stabs the very bad woman repeatedly.
Mm.
Nick Cage says something to her like, "I'm going to keep the diamonds and the money, and I know that you've got a roll of money in your bra," or something like that. It was at this point I checked out in terms of trying to keep up with a film as complicated as Tenet. I might put it. No, I'm joking. I want to stop that now. I didn't really understand because and someone's going to need to explain the ending to me as well before when we get to it. It was at this point really that it built a bit of intrigue and thought, okay, so now something's happening. They're putting a bit of time into Nick Cage. They've some of it, like his dialogue when he's in the bar, I thought was pretty good, and he's made himself quite a not likable, but he's made himself an interesting character when he's talking to the sex worker outside. And then he all of a sudden just becomes this weird action veteran hero, especially in the scene that you'll probably like discuss in a second. Really strange. It at this point lost me, unfortunately.
He said that like with about the bra thing, that she didn't take her bra off when she was fucking him. You think that's a curious move, but you think, well, surely you'd know that she was hiding something, and he just seemed very strange. He seems a very strange man. Obviously, it's explained in a minute, but his history and that he's into some dodgy stuff, but
he's a bit of a simp for the woman in red though as well.
Yeah, massively so. He seems to fall in love immediately, doesn't he? I mean, like, fair play because she's stunning, but it's a bit weird.
And also, you know, in the scene where she commandeers that guy's vehicle, and she's like, "You can look if you want," and then takes the wing mirror off him. What a tease!
So Cage is an ex-mercenary. He stole money from the bosses of the 2 guys who have just turned up. He gives a long-ass story on how he gets here. The story also included some of the characters that we've met throughout the film. So we get a little bit more backstory to Erickson, the Hispanic cop. They were involved in the murder of his friend, who owned the hotel, who he is now looking after the hotel. So that's why they're involved in it. The very bad woman was the pimp of the daughter of this daughter as well. So that's how she gets involved. Even though I've seen this film twice, I still can't remember what the sniper at the beginning has got to do with any of this shit. He's just there, but for some reason,
he was the one who burnt the kids alive.
Ah, yes, that was it. Yeah, it just felt very tacked on, that bit, to be honest.
And the other sniper was the one who let him do it.
Yeah, he watched him, didn't he? But that felt very tacked on to the rest of the story that was going on. As I said, it's just exposition heavy at this point, and I don't know if I'd rather have just known nothing and had him as this enigmatic badass.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
When they started linking the things together, all that backstory nonsense, that's when I started getting frustrated, because I thought when it didn't make any sense, when it was just a kill chain from one to the other, I thought, okay, fine, that's pretty cool. You don't need to know anything about them. But then it's like when they've said things about like the small galaxy of Star Wars, how the galaxy far, far away that's massive, and yeah, everyone knows everyone all the time in 9 different films, and Lando's always there. Why would all these Why would all these people know each other and be intertangled together when on this one night? It didn't make any sense. If you just had them as a chain of people that killed each other, and blah, and then you ended up at that point, that would have been more interesting, because at least you could have made it up in your head and think, oh, okay, why did it happen? I mean, you could question it then, but getting what we did was just wank.
Yeah, so it turns out during Cage's convoluted backstory, it ties everybody into it, and it almost seems like he's the one who set the wheels in motion to get everybody killed. But how does he know that the old assassin is not going to kill Sanchez, that Sanchez is going to get killed by the cops? As I say, it's very convoluted. We then get a shootout. The 2 intruders get killed by Cage and the woman in red. And they're off. And that's the whole film. Literally, that is it, isn't it? Let's be honest, there was very, very little to it. So I had a look.
10 minutes?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. So I had a look. The budget is unknown. The worldwide box office was $12,787.
Sorry.
$12,000. Nearly 13 grand is what they made on this film.
Oh.
It's got to be a tax write-off. Got to be. Because how on earth would you make a film that is going to get that little? It was released at the tail end of last year. I think
Did it get a cinematic release then?
I think it may have gone to a few, so it would have been a limited release. But I think it was pretty much straight to DVD. 13 grand. Like they'd have spent more than that on the hair dye for Nick Cage.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
It does make you wonder why they bothered. So
And
the good,
us.
the bad. yeah, very true. The good, the bad, and the crazy. Stu, start us off.
Premise wasn't bad. Like I just said, that the idea of unrelated people being linked because the one before had killed someone they knew, that's a pretty cool idea. If it was just left like it was, and some of the action was really well done as well. Like we said about the using the human shield, and that whole bit with the car when he shoots his ankles out and it's the body and not him, the cop. So that was a really clever scene. Yeah, there was from an action film point of view, which this is not at all, other than that there's guns. That was pretty impressive. If you really, really wanted to turn your brain off, but there was just too much nonsense, and not in a good way. It was just like you said, it was yeah, it was just too boring. You didn't care. It was just. Well, if it hasn't even got a budget that anyone knows what it was, and it looks like it had a budget that no one knew what it was as well, and like the whole story about the first sniper and his daughter, and Cage then going to save her, being Super Cage at the end, and
God, what if we get a sequel?
Oh, I bet there will be.
Oh, fucking hell! I don't know watch that.
it's just again a wasted opportunity. And the crazy is that stuck on beard, just because it was like sticking. He's got a squirrel on his face.
That's fair. My good, it's 90 minutes. Like it's fairly quick flowing, to be honest. I would say that, like, obviously it's a B movie. There's no depth to it, so it just sort of flies through. I do feel like they missed the trick. It could have been edited down into something decent. They could have probably done like an hour-long something of just get through it and tell a bit more of a story. But it was just the fact they kept pulling the rug from underneath us that really ruined it. I also thought the use of sound was terrible. It was really quiet and whispery 1 minute, and then really shouty and shooty, and it was just all over the place. I also found the colour palette all over the shop. I thought it was a really ugly film to watch. And my crazy, it's also going for the beard. My favourite bit of IMDb trivia: Nick Cage wanted a moustache for this role and not a beard. That's the IMDb trivia. Okay, why didn't he have a moustache then? That's mine.
Maybe he was too attached to it from Face Off.
Maybe. Matt, what about yourself?
No, the good, like Stuart said, the action scene in the car, the shootout, I thought was pretty well done. Probably the only bit of the film that drew me in kind of from an immersive point of view, because when he shot the ankles, I shouted out, I went, "That's the dead body! That's the dead body!" And I got really excited, and then I actually had a bit of payoff as well, because that was right and I was right, and I thought that's actually it had me for a little bit. The bad would be the kind of okay, spoiler alert for what we're about to discuss and for next. The thing that's the worst about this film, it's not vanilla as in like the action or the gore or anything like that. It's so unoffensive. It just exists. It just exists. It's not bad enough that you can have a laugh with it. It's not good enough that you actually enjoy it. It just exists as a 90-minute block that you'll never get back. And that's, I don't really enjoy that, really. I either want to watch something that's really terrible and you can just have a laugh as you go along with it. It's not that. It's not good to the point where you actually think, oh, I've seen something really interesting here. And that's the worst kind of shit film, isn't it, really? The crazy, for me, I don't know if you guys have seen this. All I wanted this film to be was Get the Gringo, or I think it's How I Spent My Summer Vacation. Like I don't know which is the film title. It was one of the two. I just wanted it to be more like that, like exploring more Nick Cage in kind of a South American country and crime and cartel and stuff like that. And he didn't go down that route at all. And I thought it would, like with the little bit of write up that I had about the film. It's just shit, isn't it? Really? For want of a better word, I just, like Stu said, it's a wasted opportunity, really. I think what I will say, and it will lead us on to the question about Nick Cage as an actor. I thought what he did with some of his dialogue was quite good. I thought he was quite entertaining and funny in parts as well. But as an overall piece, I wouldn't go say it was a highlight or anything like that. But as an overall piece, it just didn't click, did it? It's throwaway and not in a good way.
That's absolutely fair. That is. So, did you enjoy this film, Matt?
I did in a way, like it's an action-ish film. There's a bit of intrigue. I'll never watch it again at this point now because I've seen it and I know what happens now. I can't say I didn't enjoy it as a piece, but if the answer would be, would you recommend it to a friend? I'd probably say no, save your time, watch something else. It's not to say I didn't get pleasure out of it. Ask me this question once we've reviewed Left Behind. Put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, it's for me. I thought Cage saved this film. They pissed away 45 minutes. I almost felt like if they'd have done something a bit more with Nick Cage, I mean, they could have even turned it into like a 4-part mini-series and really padded out the story of Nick Cage, because that was where the only intrigue was. what they gave us basically was a subpar 3-act play, and the 3 acts were so loosely connected that it took some Deus Ex Machina levels for the pieces to all fall into place at the very end. He tried to give us some kind of smart arse portmanteau of a movie, and it failed. Like I say, like you said, Matt, it's not offensively bad, but I wouldn't watch it again either. Stu?
Yeah. I mean, I just looked at my notes to see what I'd put, and I'd
We've
put
all
one
just
word.
gone, yeah, at the beginning, because that's exactly the feeling it left you with. Isn't it?
So, because I remember I only watched it a few days ago, so I didn't really make that many notes. And I thought, I just wonder if I've missed anything, and all I'd put in there was just shrug. That's all I said, because that's what it is. It's just not. It's a nice idea. It's Cage is pretty all right in it, but it's just pointless because they just tack on nonsense for no reason, rather than just going with the convictions and doing the whole kill chain. You don't have to link the chain together.
Yeah,
that was my main part of it. But yeah, it was not, let's say, a nice way. It was. I don't regret watching it because it was an all right waste of air and off on a Wednesday night after watching a couple of games. But yeah, it was just very meh for me.
I think that's the best way to put it, to be honest. It was just okay. So, was Nick Cage good or bad in this movie? For me, I thought he was on the side of good. He was the most interesting character in the whole film. There wasn't a lot of depth to the whole movie, let alone his character, but he was the most real feeling thing in it. So, nothing to go mad over, but yeah, he was fine. Matt?
The old Brexit vote. This is 52% in favour of good, 48% in favour of bad. Yeah, he did enough to make this film entertaining in parts, just watchable in others. He just about scraped over the line with that. So for that reason, he makes this film something that isn't the drizzling shits. It's just a slight bit of shit. Terrible way to describe it. But no, for the purposes of our almighty question, is Nick Cage good or bad? I'm saying good.
Cool. Stu?
Yeah, clean sweep. Same thing. Just on the right. Actually, no, I'm saying just on the right side because we've seen him in worse performances than this, which is telling, really. But I thought he did a lot more than what he was given. He performed a lot better than what he was given, so to speak. So yeah, he was like you about said, he was the best thing about the film. His character was interesting, and he made it interesting, and he actually showed a bit of range as well when they were sitting down, and he was talking about what the his daughter and stuff like that. Oh, that was a pretty decent scene, and yeah, he gave a better performance than this film deserved.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a yes for me.
Perfectly put, Stu. So that is Kill Chain. I'm really, really loath to say. Next up is Left Behind.
Hattie, this isn't about us. It's about the truth. We need to focus on the truth.
The truth, Ray? Are you serious?
Yes. This isn't about our past. It's about right now. What's happening on this plane right now. What could be happening everywhere right now.
So they're all in heaven. That's your conclusion. Without speaking to anyone outside of this plane, you're going to jump on the first explanation that pops into your head.
Irene knew this was coming. In detail. How could that be possible? The way it happened. The way they disappeared. Even the way that the clothes were still there. Perfect detail.
So, Left Behind. Curtain up on a busy airport. The music is soft and saccharine. It is so made for TV movie. It's unbelievable. The camera work is light and airy. This is basically what I think the Americans call a Lifetime movie. That's very much what it looks like straight away.
Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, Hallmark Channel, that's the one, yeah. So This girl walks in who looks the spitting image of Marlene Ackerman. I literally thought it was her to start with. She walks from the plane whilst talking to her mother. She asks about her father's surprise party, but the mom tells her that he has left for the day. He's been called into work. Luckily for not Marlene Ackerman, her dad is a pilot. I did laugh when the camera cut to the family photo of Cage, not Marlene Ackerman, the mom and the brother. Like, Nicolas Cage has been airbrushed to fuck in that photo.
It really
It
has.
looked nothing like him. It was almost like they've just got a picture of him from Face Off mid-surgery and just put it in there. 2002's next big thing in Hollywood, Chad Michael McMurray is being hounded for his autograph. He's obviously a big deal. By hounded, I mean there was one guy asking for a selfie and his autograph. So I've got a quote here. You must feel like you've seen it all. You seem to be in the middle of a disaster every time I switch on the news. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Williams? Do you read the Bible? And then this woman goes into a fucking tirade of Bible verses about the end of the world as we know it. And not Marlene Ackerman is not putting up with any of that shit. She immediately steps in and tells her what Austin 3:16 has to say about it. I'm not sure if this interaction was good or bad. We don't know who Michael McMurray is, and the Bible-loving lady seems to hate his guts, blaming him for natural disasters. Are we supposed to think he's a dick? I'm a bit confused.
I didn't get that from it, but
I just thought she was a lunatic.
Yeah. I just became. The thing was, this film. Before we get into it, I feel proper hoodwinked by this film because I had no idea it had these religious overtones until I started watching it. Because I didn't do any. So when she started going in, I thought alarm bells started flashing because why is she so passionate about the fact that God allows all these things to happen? And I was like this. Are you trying to make out that she's the bad person in this because she's just attacking somebody that believes in God? I didn't get it, and then I thought, oh no, Left Behind isn't bloody Left Behind at an airport or Left Behind like Lost. This Left Behind is the bloody Rapture, isn't it? And then
that was when the penny when it sank in for me.
God. Yeah.
So we get a bit of sexy sax music. Cut to lady killer pilot Nick Cage getting close to Nicky Whelan. Bosh. Nicky Whelan, fucking hell, incredible. When Cage arrives inside the airport, he sees his daughter, who also sees him whilst he's flirting with Nicky Whelan. I think this must be when Nick Cage finally found Botox. Because, he smiles and his face does not move an inch. It's bad. And again, Wig Watch, that's a very thick head of hair he's rocking in this film. Compared to where we were, I think this film's 2014. Around this time, he's got the widow's peak going full on at this point. So I think we've got a wig on our hands here. The conversation between Cage and not Marlene Ackerman, it is so vague. It's all, Mum is so different. Cut her some slack. You've not been around. They're skirting around what is actually happening. Didn't care for that. Just tell us. From what I can piece together, the mom has become a hardcore Christian at this point. But just say it, because you haven't been subtle in anything fucking else up until this point. So just come on and get on with it.
Yeah, when he takes his rings off and puts it in his car.
Yeah, but you do that for Nicky Whelan.
Well, to be fair.
If the shoe fits.
Absolutely. So we're on the plane now. Cage tells a terrible joke and Nicky Whelan pisses herself. It is so funny. She wants some Cage in her life, obviously. No wonder he has decided to drop his family on his birthday. Back in the airport, McMurray and not Marlene Ackerman are talking more about people being obsessed with God. This is you just know at this point it is going to be some full-on preachy bollocks, this is. And between the title and the first 14 minutes, you just fully know that everyone is going to get wiped out apart from Cage and not Marlene Ackerman. I was assuming she will probably embrace God by the end of this film, and we'll get bright lights and a voiceover of Morgan Freeman. But that's what I was expecting at this point.
Well, we knew she was a wrong one to begin with because she wanted tickets to go see U2.
Yeah, that's a red flag right there, isn't it?
It's huge. Check hard drive territory.
She just wanted a beautiful day.
Ah, I like it.
Well done, Stuart. Nikki Whelan tells her flight attendant friend that she's trying to get some Cage D when she gets to London. The abandon his family is making more and more sense at this point. Weirdo guy at the airport hands not Marlene Ackerman some U2 tickets for her dad. It turns out that Cage dumping his family was 2 weeks planning. He knew he wasn't going to be there for his birthday. And the penny finally dropped for not Marlene Ackerman that he had no intention of being there. She says goodbye to Chad Michael McMurray, who is coincidentally getting on the same flight as Cage. McMurray gets on the plane and he's allowed into the cockpit. Like, what the fuck? Has 9/11 not happened? Like, that was 2001. This is 2014. There is no way some rando dude is just going to rock up and walk straight in there.
Strolled in, like,
yeah,
VIP access all areas.
Yeah, again, very strange. So, yeah, McMurray gives Cage the U2 tickets. Not Marlene Ackerman returns home and talks to her mom. Oh, it took me to this point to realise who the mom was. It's Back to the Future. It's Laurie, is it from Back to the Future? The mom from Back to the Future. It took me up until this point. Like, oh shit, that's who it is. Like, grossly misunderused. But then, I mean, the whole film's a shit show anyway, so I suppose it's par for the course. So not Marlene Ackerman and the mom immediately get into rapture talk. Each to their own. Believe what you want to believe. The atheist daughter comes across as an absolute asshole in here. And the two Christian ladies that we've seen have sounded like deluded fucking idiots. Like, everyone looks bad in this movie at this point. There's no one who's coming across looking relatively sane. And that's obviously not what they're going for. Not a good look. Aside, I enjoyed the interaction with the young girl and Martin Kleber on the plane. Martin Kleber's the little person. So when she says that her dad is injured and that he plays for the Jets, so Martin Kleber gets on his phone and he's putting a bet against the Jets. But I mean, let's be honest, you should put a bet against the Jets anyway because they are shit.
Yeah, every week.
Every fucking week. So not Marlene Ackerman takes her brother for a drive. More anti-religion stuff, like laying it on thick ass right now. This is the first time I checked my watch when I was watching it. There's still an hour and 20 minutes to go at this point. It's a long fucking film. All of a sudden, people vanish. Seemingly, mostly children and the odd adult. Because we've been smashed over the head about Christianity, like rapture, we know it's the rapture. It's not even subtle, is it? Let's be honest. It could have been interesting if... I thought it could have been interesting if there was a slight mystery to it. But they didn't give us that. Stu, come on then.
when you said how long did it take to figure it out, I thought I'd done well when they've all disappeared, and I thought, that's a bit strange. Not knowing anything about the rapture or any religious nonsense whatsoever, or what the title even meant, and again, like Matt said, I don't look anything into it at all. We've seen like religious lunatics in films before, just for the sake of it. I thought, well, she just stepped into just to say something there, and it never crossed my mind once that that's what this film was about until that moment when everyone disappeared. And then I thought, when I said to you, when I texted you, and you said, "Oh, have you got it?" I said, "Well, it's too obvious to be religion, and it's too stupid to be aliens or something like that."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that on the nose that it's so obvious.
They're treating the audience like morons, I thought. They couldn't possibly tell a subtle story. It is so in your face that it's blatantly what's going on. And that's how that ruins the rest of the film. It was never started off good anyway. It just went downhill more and more.
I have to ask this, and taking this to a rare serious turn in this podcast, which we don't do very often. Is this film intentional in its fact that the people in the the first class areas that don't get taken by the Rapture is a black woman, what I assume is an Arabic man, someone who is considered would be handicapped as well. Are there tones here of heaven is a white pipe?
Yeah.
It's you know, are there racist overtones here, or am I reading too much into this?
Not at all. I was going to come to that point, but I'll talk about it now. So it sort of seems like they're implying that one of the passengers to suggest that they pray to God in order to get the children or whoever back. He's got an accent. He's slightly olive-skinned. I'm assuming like he's supposed to be a Muslim. I don't know. They don't go as far as naming them, but that is certainly the perception they're giving. He's obviously a man of faith. Is this film trying to tell us that he's a man of the wrong faith?
100%. Yeah.
If they are, this film can fuck off. It is awful.
It's a bit like that.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
That South Park episode where they all say who was right, and they say, it was the Mormons.
Yeah,
and that was exactly what I thought about when this all started, because you got him, because you got the prayer beads, and he's got the I don't know the name, the terms of the head thing, and it was blatantly obvious. This is when I started looking at the film in a completely different way.
Yeah, because I mean, they'd already made the joke about a brown person being on a plane, and obviously the overtones that has in America, especially a few years prior to this. And they made the joke that it was an electric toothbrush in his bag and not a weapon of mass destruction. I mean, honestly, I think I'd have turned the film off, even knowing that we've got this to watch. I don't think I'd have been able to sit through it had it have been as overtly racist as.
Well, I think
it very much could have been.
They were one flaming queen away from the full sweep of Bible bashing. Who's going to hell? Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised they didn't do that, because they had the Asian guy that knows about technology. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm surprised I'm surprised they didn't get him to try and fix someone's iPhone or try and fix the black box or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's at this point. I need to put this out there now in all seriousness to anybody that's watching. I'm an atheist, so this kind of stuff. I was born Catholic. Well, I'm born Catholic. I am raised as a Catholic, but I am an atheist. I've got no issue with like people following religion. I think that when it's done correctly, it's to enhance, to make life better for other people. That's absolutely fine. I've got no issue with it. But this scene, once the rapture had happened, is where this film turned into Christian propaganda as opposed to a film. And I don't get offended by anything. Like, really don't get offended by anything. I found this film offensively religious propaganda to me, and it really I get angry just thinking about it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. So the passengers on the plane, they're now screaming at the captain. Like, they were all there when the people vanished. I mean, I get they're confused and they're scared. Why the fuck are they looking to the pilot? Do they think he made them vanish?
Mob rules, though, isn't it? Like, they all start rushing towards him, like that like in the Simpsons movie, like everyone trying to get him to sort everything. Like they've hidden all the babies in the overhead storage. Makes no sense.
Doesn't at all. At this point, Cage tries to call his wife. The phone can't connect. Obviously, they don't tell us that she's vanished, but we know she's vanished because she was a believer, so she was obviously innocent in all this bollocks. The worst CGI plane crash ever happens next, though, where the light aircraft comes down onto not Marlene Ackerman's car. It was laughably shit. That's probably the fucking highlight of this film as well.
It was worse than some of the stuff on Air Crash Investigation.
Yeah, it was.
Or no, it's got a different name in America. Mayday, and that's a Canadian TV show. But it bounces. The thing bounces. It should have shattered into a million pieces.
It was a shocker. It really was. Back onto the plane now. McMurray is documenting what happened with the disappearing people on the plane. It's taken 45 minutes, but I've only just realised he's supposed to be a reporter. I don't know if I've missed something or they just didn't tell us up until now. But I didn't think that was very good storytelling. We get a mid-air collision where one plane clips the plane of our heroes. There's no pilots in the other plane. They've been raptured. Throughout all this plane bollocks, we keep getting like 5-10 interstitials of not Marlene Ackerman running around and then getting snapshots of looting, murdering, hospitals being full. They don't actually show us anything, but she becomes completely peripheral to the storyline now. Like, this is a bad film, and I don't think it knows what it is trying to do. I think it's just trying to tell us religion. It's not actually trying to tell a story any longer.
Go on, Stu. Sorry.
I think you got the highlight that I actually noted down when she the comical way that she breaks the glass in the hospital to try and get in, and then like, crawls over what she's just broken and actually cuts her hand.
Yeah.
And this is the high detail that I've noted down about. It was that stupid.
That's where we are. Jesus.
Do we think that within 5 minutes of the rapture, the world descends into shit the way it does? Do you think they did that well? So almost straight away, people start looting and pillaging within 5 minutes. Like, if let's put the hypothetical hat on, do you think that would happen?
No.
We're in France. it happens in France over everything, so I don't
think it would. I mean, people are generally reasonable. You don't have to be a Christian to be a good human being. Like, in spite of what this film tells you, you're not a bad person if you don't believe in a particular version of a particular god. So you wouldn't immediately just start acting like a dick. Maybe that's just me, and I've got more faith in humanity than whoever the fuck made this shit film.
Yeah, I've got no faith in it at all. But I don't think it'd be straight away. I think you'd give it a few days, then it'd start kicking off.
Yeah, but you can't tell me shit. The only reason we're not looting now is because Christians exist, and that's basically what this film is purporting.
Well, who knows?
Because they're saying like you remove Christians and the world goes to shit. That's what they're saying. I can't see that.
It's just if people just disappear, just disappear next year, and you think, well, what's the point anymore?
So at this point, Marlene Ackerman visits a maternity ward. All the babies have vanished. We get a bit of exposition when a non-raptured patient tells her that all of the children across the world has vanished. How the fuck does she know she's in hospital? Like, there was no TVs or anything in the section she was in, so how does she know that all of the children everywhere have gone?
Well, this has got to be the biggest plot hole of the lot, is that these children are going to be of different faiths, and so if they're talking like original sin and all that kind of thing, and these children haven't had a chance to sin, well, there's plenty of good, like you said, there's plenty of good non-Christians or Catholics, so it makes no sense why.
And there's plenty of shit kids as well.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly.
Mainly in cinemas with Andy, by the sounds of it.
So I didn't understand why all the children went when some of them won't be Christian, but then all, you know what I mean? I'm trying to find sense in this film, which I shouldn't.
I think it's just innocence of youth. I think that's all they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's too complicated to say, oh, that's a Muslim child and that's a Sikh child, whatever. It was just easy just to say, yeah, okay, all the kids.
Yeah.
I've got a note here, Stu. When we watch films, you generally disengage and just go along for the ride. Have you figured it out yet? Is what I'd actually written in the notes. There is no hole in the fuel tank on our plane. Not Marlene Ackerman returns home. It's empty. I mean, like, if this film wanted him to give a shit about anything, the mom should still have been there. Like, just because we know she's a bit of a bitch to her daughter, and we know that she has done something to try and separate her family, or not tried to do it, but her actions have caused separation in her family. They should have put her in, left her there behind. Just give me something. Nah, not going to bother. Doesn't want to do anything too taxing on our pretty little brains, does it? She manages to find her mom's phone. There's a voicemail from Cage. Not Marlene Ackerman believes she's listened to the demise of her father. She then sees a Bible, just as Cage sees that his now raptured co-pilot was due for Bible studies. Now they're figuring it out. The scene in the plane, so where the mother of the raptured child, where she loses her shit. Somehow she's now got a gun. So I mean, she must have picked it up from the plain sheriff cop man. Bit weird how she's managed to fucking snaffle that away when she wasn't sat anywhere near the dude. But obviously she's now got this gun, and she's pointing it at everybody. So she starts to think that the people on the plane have somehow made her daughter vanish into thin air whilst in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. She thinks it's her husband is involved. She thinks it's a conspiracy. Her husband has made the fellow passengers vanish her daughter. Not even kidnap and hide, vanish her daughter while she was sat next to the fucker. Like, the tension is just non-existent in this point, and it should be, because it's a woman who has lost her daughter, who is being skittish. It should be a bit, oh, what's going on? And there was just none of it. Like, it wasn't frenetic. And at this, I'd already checked it anyway, but I just hadn't got a complete clue what the fuck was going on now. It was pieces happening around that had no real link to each other. It was appalling. Whoever wrote this should be ashamed of themselves. So the cokehead dude off the plane, he explains that it was the rapture. Sorry, not dude, girl. She explains that it was the rapture. Her accent might be the worst thing that in this whole fucking film. Like, we've watched Captain Corelli's Mandolin, and her English accent was worse than Cage's alleged Italian. It was really bad. We then get a bit of dialogue between Cage and Nicky Whelan. Cage explains that it was the rapture and that they've all vanished to heaven. Cage, this isn't about us. It's about the truth. We need to focus on the truth. Whelan, the truth? Are you serious? Cage, this isn't about our past. It's about right now. What's happening on this plane right now? What could be happening everywhere right now? Whelan, so they're in heaven. That's your conclusion. Without speaking to anyone outside of this plane, you're going to jump to the first explanation that pops into your head. Cage, Irene knew this was coming in detail. How could that be possible? The way it happened, the way they disappeared, the way their clothes were all still there, she knew in perfect detail. Fuck off. It was awful. Like, it needs to be punchy, it needs to be snappy. Fair enough if you wanted to butt heads over it, great stuff. But they just didn't. It was two people talking at cross purposes. Like, they could have been having two separate conversations for all the tension they put into the movie at this point. Not Marlene Ackerman then talks to a pastor. He wasn't raptured because it wasn't enough. He was always at church spreading the word of God, but you need to believe in the words. What? So he was a pastor who didn't actually believe, so he wasn't saved, even though he was spreading the word, which I'm pretty sure is one of the tenets of faith. I'm confused.
Doesn't matter.
I wonder if all the kiddie fiddling priests, I'm just say, all fucked off to heaven because they believed. I'd like to have explored that a bit more, maybe.
Yeah, well, they were all inside the kids at the time, so they got a free ride.
They got taken with them.
Oh dear.
Not Marlene Ackerman gets very angry and points out that God is a shit who killed lots of people. And Pastor says, you just need to ask for forgiveness. They're making the rules up as to go along here, aren't they?
Andy, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Does Velosa Pastor survive the rapture?
He turns badass. Like, I think... Oh, he does kill when he's a velociraptor, though, so probably not. Oh, and to be fair, like, dinosaurs don't exist, do they?
Of course.
The world's 4,000 years old, and dinosaurs don't exist, so I think he'd be left behind.
I enjoyed our little podcast. It was good while it lasted. before the most hated family in America tried to hunt us down or whatever.
Oh, Christ. Yeah. So Cage now finds out that they can't land in New York. They're fucked. But Pilot Cage basically says, fuck it, I'm landing regardless. Not Marlene Ackerman somehow climbs to the top of a bridge at this point. We get some god-awful CG of, like, green screen bollocks where she's on top of this bridge, about to jump to her death. But then she pulls out a necklace with the fish on. Is she into God now? And then she leans forward, about to jump, but her phone rings. It's Pilot Cage. He tells her that he may die as there's no fuel and no landing space anyway. She manages to find a landing strip in the middle of fucking nowhere. But as the plane was flying blind, they would be literally landing in the dark. She manages to set off an explosion. This is convoluted as fuck. We see from the cockpit the New York skyline. Like, it's fucking bright, this is. But they somehow managed to see a bonfire. Like, out in the distance. Just absolute bollocks. They land relatively safely. They turn and look to New York, which is literally on fire. It's been less than 12 hours. The end. So, yeah, 12 hours, the world's fucked.
They stole that from Die Hard 2, clearly.
Clearly, yeah.
Light the runway.
IMDb, the fan score on IMDb was a 3.1, which is generous. The Metacritic was a 12. Rotten Tomatoes fan score was a 38%. The Rotten Tomatoes critic score was a 1%. This film got higher than Grand Isle.
No, don't do this.
Yep. So
Not
one
like this.
critic gave it a positive review. Diana Sagner, I might be pronouncing that wrong. She says, a great cast delivers high drama in this action thriller. I know, yeah. I looked at some of her other reviews because, like, that stunned me. She almost gave universal positive reviews, which makes me think she might be a bit of an idiot. The only two negative reviews I could find, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Infinity War. Those are the only two that I could find. She did give Endgame 5 stars, but yeah, she did not like Once Upon a Time.
Can we get her on? Can we do everything in our power to get her on the show and explain herself?
Yeah. Shocking.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So the budget was $16 million. Like, I think that's quite a high budget for this film, which doesn't really have many stars and has some terrible CG. The box office return, brace yourselves.
I can imagine this is going to be really high.
Yeah,
because I can imagine this has been absolutely lapped up overseas. I reckon they fucking loved it.
$27.4 million.
Not as much as I thought.
It almost doubled its box office. So I checked out the budgets before I watched the film on this one. Like it felt like a TV movie. So for the fact that it was so expensive and it made so much, I was quite stunned at it. But then having seen the film, they faith plus wanned it. So if you've watched South Park, you will know that Cartman starts a Christian faith rock band in order to sell 1 million records, because he knows that if you aim it at a certain demographic, they will buy any old shit. It doesn't need to be good. It just needs to be quote unquote Christian. And that's exactly what this film was. It was made to appeal to a specific group. Zero effort was put into this. And because they knew that, they didn't market it to anybody else. It was cynical. I thought it was insulting to non-Christians and Christians. Nobody looked good in this movie.
No.
But there we are. So the good, the bad, and the crazy. I'll start it. The good. Did you gentlemen see Nicky Whelan in this film? Like, literally, that's the best thing about it. The bad. Right, it was basically a 2-hour promo for Christ. The acting was at best terrible. The CG wasn't used a lot, but let's be honest, what was used was the drizzling shits. It was offensive. They basically said, if you're not Christian, you're a bad human being. And there is no way on earth that whatever fucking podunk town that they filmed in was supposed to be New York City. It can fuck right off. Awful. And the crazy, it made no sense. So apparently 25% of the world's population vanished. The world would not immediately set itself on fire. There's just no way that would happen. Like, let's be perfectly honest. The people who were left seem to be the better people. The Christians that we met throughout this film were assholes. and that the kids were not good. They were annoying little fox. So the ones who were left are the better people. We also know that all of the scientists would be left behind because I think it's something like 99% of scientists are atheist or at least agnostic. Pretty much definitely not, of faith. So the world would be in a much better position. It would be the post-Thanos snap. The world would be better off. Matt, what's your good, bad, and good?
The good. Finally have a film to hate more than next. Literally, that's it. I didn't find anything about this film remotely enjoyable. You know how I said about Kill Chain is that it's not bad enough that it's too bad. It's not that you can have a laugh with it, and it's not good enough that you can praise it. This is so over the line bad, offensively bad, that I can't have any fun with it either. And I've just felt really passionate about it. It's kind of religious propaganda, and it's like kind of, well, I'm going to put down as racial overtones with it. That the fact that that black people, Asian people, Arabic people, anybody that's handicapped, anybody that's got drug issues, anybody that believes in science, none of these people are good people, and they will be subject to eternal damnation on a burning planet. Absolutely not. Go fuck yourself. That's not what religion's about. I know a lot of people that are religious and they're not bad people, so I don't want this to come across as that. But this film can absolutely swivel on itself for that reason. I haven't even mentioned what my actual bad is. My bad is my bad is that they butcher one of my favorite TV shows of all time and try to make it like Lost, with the different personalities on board that plane that we see, that we have a bit of interaction with. You have the reporter who's basically trying to be Jack. You have the Texan who's trying to be Sawyer. You have the old couple that's bloody Rose and Bernard. You've got the drugger who's Charlie. You've got the Arabic guy that's Saeed. You just go on and on and on. The only person that there isn't a vertically challenged person in Lost to my memory. That's the only person that's not in there.
Oh, we had Locke, who was a former wheelchair user, if I remember.
Yeah.
So, like, he would be a disabled person.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
We probably are on a bit of a Lost rant there, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's absolutely not acceptable, because Lost, it's not TV, it is art, and I won't have them rip it off like that. And the crazy, this is the one thing that made me laugh in the film, right? So when she's trying to light up the runway for the plane, she sees that there's like gasoline or whatever there, and she pours the petrol or the gasoline or whatever you want to call it, and then proceeds to dance around in it, and then put the lighter down on the floor next to her feet. Just drops the lighter as if it's like dead casual. She would go up in flames, and I just thought somebody has got to like have picked that up. Come on, like it's just, oh God, it was so bad. Like, I love this podcast, I really do. But if I get put through something like that, I have to put the towel in.
That's absolutely.
Has anybody got some like either strong alcohol or Xanax or something? I need to lie down.
Stu, do you want to finish us off here?
I'd rather finish you off than watch us again. I mean, all that was missing was placards saying "Vote Trump 2020" and singing "Oh Happy Day." It was just bollocks. The whole thing was bollocks, and it just wasn't fun. Even though Next really made me angry and all that stuff because of the ending of it, and none of it that made any sense. This is still not beating it, because I don't even know why, because I just, there's nothing to really say about it, because it was just shit. It was just, maybe because we're not, I mean, I suppose I identify as C of E if you had to tick a box and for forms or whatever, but I'm not fully engaged in it all. So I don't really care about all the Christianity nonsense of it all. But when you delve deep into what was being said and what we said on here about who got chosen, it's very questionable. So, I mean, the good, the fact that it wasn't very long, maybe. The bad, it's just not a very good film. It's just not very well made, is it?
Top to bottom, it's just not well made. Any aspects, no, you are right.
It's just not. Even that. So, I mean, this is one of the best games I've played for a long while. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture on PS4 exclusive. Got play. That's 6 hours long. That's better than this. That's you just wandering around the town, finding out what happened to everyone. But I think if I'd have looked up what was going on beforehand, I probably would have just had it on in the background and played Football Manager and just blagged it. Because I could quite easily have done that and had a better time. Because there was nothing in it that screamed, "Watch me," at all. It was paint by numbers, and obviously the Hallmark Channel and Lifestyle and all them kind of films. At least they're fun. Then they embrace the nonsense. I mean, the best part about this film was the saxophone music at the start. And I actually got that kind of jazz funk. I was into that. But her running around the town like a shit Kate Bauer, it's just not on. Just not on. Very bad.
So obviously we'll get on to the 2 questions. Did you enjoy this film? Like I thought I was going to enjoy the craziness of this film. I thought this is going to be a bit funny in a really bad kind of way. But it nosedived hard. It became so fucking preachy. The script was all over the shop. I felt like I was being called an arsehole pretty much throughout this whole film because I didn't believe in whatever version of whatever god these dipshits want me to believe in. This film can fuck off more than Next. The end of Next was frustrating. The end of this was fucking insulting. It's like a hard fucking no, I did not enjoy this film. Stu?
It's still going to take a lot to get me as angry as I got over Next. But if you're rating it on enjoyment-wise, I still enjoyed that more than this. Even though I'm never going to watch either of them again. And so I didn't enjoy it just because it was shit. Yeah. And yes, Kim Bauer, not Kate Bauer, before anyone writes in.
So, Matt?
Stu, I don't think that is going to be the talking points of this podcast. For some reason.
Can we do it? Is Todd religious? Is this why he likes this film?
No, he's not. He enjoys this film because it's terrible. Yeah. I really blame Todd for making us watch this. I say Todd made us. We were going to get to it at some point, so it's probably my fucking fault, to be honest.
Yeah, this podcast was your idea. Yeah. In answer to your question, I don't want to get angry again, so no, I did not enjoy this film, Andy.
Okay. So was Nick Cage in this film and this film alone, was he good or was he bad? Matt?
Was he in this film? Like he could have been played by anybody. There's nothing Nick Cage about his performance. I thought he was a Thunderbird because when he spoke, his mouth didn't move. He was very stoic and not in a I'm the captain, I'm going to keep calm when everything's going to shit. He's just void of emotion because he's an adulterer and he's going to hell, basically, as the film would portray it. No, I don't think he didn't do anything about in this film to make it a memorable performance as a Nick Cage film.
No. Stu?
No, it could have been deep faked and you'd have no difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit.
Yeah.
Just no, it wasn't a good performance at all.
So according to IMDb trivia, Nick Cage did this as a favour to his brother, who's a priest. I'm guessing that Nick and Mark Coppola probably don't talk much because he put zero fucking effort into this film. And I know last time when we spoke about 8mm, we said that like the films that week, the scripts didn't really help Cage. But let's be honest, he sat on his arse and dribbled out his lines. He was so disinterested in what he was doing in this whole film. It's a big fat no from me. He was definitely bad in this one. So thank fuck that is out of the way. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at CageFightingPod. Drop us an email to cagefightingpod@gmail.com if you've got any questions, because next up is the question cast. If you've got anything you want to take us to task over on our opinions of these movies, drop them in an email. I'm guessing they're probably more than 240 characters if you do have any issues with what we said today. So for this week, Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
Let us pray.
Matt, would you like to say goodbye?
Hashtag pray for this podcast.
And it's goodbye from me. And this week, more than ever, I really hope you watch these films, because if we've got to suffer, I think you should too. See you next week for the question cast. Some weeks it feels like we jump on a grenade so that people don't have to watch these films. Yeah, I feel like my guts may have been blown out having watched this shit.